I've never felt the need to put an 80-year-old woman over my knee and spank her, but you're coming close.
Laura asks, how come we don't have wakes at our church? And Mary says, because they're fun, and if they're fun, they're sinful.
And then this priest from Mankato is riding up.
With a god-awful haircut.
He looks like an idiot.
She could have been, like, in the casket and, like, pushed up the lid and been like, bitch, here I am.
What's up, bonnet babes and boys? Welcome to Little House Big Opinions, where we delve into the drama, tragedy, and heartfelt moments of a show that was a pillar of our childhood. So buckle up, because it's about to be a wild ride.
You've probably heard of the show, Little House on the Prairie. We grew up being told the tale was wholesome, cozy, and oh so sweet. But I swear there's something tragic in like half of all the scenes.
I mean, seriously, did the writers run out of themes?
They said it's just some drama, but I think it sparked our trauma.
We're both totally fine now, though.
So now we're rewatching the show and talking about it as we go. This is Little House Big Opinions. I guess we'll see how this goes.
Welcome back to yet another episode of Little House Big Opinions.
Today we're going to be tackling episode 7, If I Should Die Before I Wake.
This is a fun one. I feel like, though, this is another case of we see this character and then we never see her again.
But I mean, it does make sense for like these long-running shows that like they need side plots because...
Yeah.
But it's also,
Speaking of that, I don't feel like shows from the time that, like, Little House was made really had overarching plots.
Yeah.
Like, each episode has its own thing.
Mm-hmm.
Which I feel like now, a lot of times, there's...
Yeah, cliffhangers and things from one, but, like, it's almost like each episode is kind of like a mini-movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which I guess... Oh, I wouldn't say that this is supposed to be a sitcom, so...
But it is kind of like, it's the sitcom of its time, right? You know? Like...
Or would it be more like a family drama? The sitcom, I'm thinking more like The Office.
Yeah. Who knows? The whole point is that there's a lot of...
individual plot lines.
Yes. So, I guess I didn't have any specific lore for this episode.
I have a random fact.
Okay.
So I learned today that Michael Landon was on 22 Entertainment, like, Tonight covers. I don't even know if they make those anymore, but it's like the weekly, like, magazine that had all of the showing times for things, I believe. And I think that it had some, like, pop culture type stuff in it. He was on it 22 times. Second only to Lucille Ball.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, he really was getting around.
Yeah. And he, at the time of his death in 1990, is that right? Yeah.
Yeah.
That's right. That's only 2 years before I was born. That's kind of crazy. He was worth an approximate $40 million.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Which, honestly, I feel like if that was today, like...
That would be even more.
Yeah.
Yeah, inflation.
Yeah.
Just actually talked about it in this episode.
It is.
Briefly. Okay, so this episode centers around an old woman named Amy.
Very strange name for the Prairie to me.
Yes, and Mattie is also kind of, because her friend is named Mattie.
Yeah.
So these two women live together. We open with the one old woman, Mattie. She is playing an auto harp, which, like, literally the first thing I wrote down before they said what it was called was, like, what the fuck is this instrument? And then also I was like...
Josh was wondering, too.
I was like, what the fuck is she doing there? Like, because it takes a minute to explain. Like, it does explain, but I'm like, she's just sitting there.
Why is this old woman sitting here? And they're just, like, knitting.
Yeah, the girls are crowded around, and she is, like, kind of explaining how to play it to them, and and they're singing songs and stuff, but you're just like, who is this person and why is she here?
And she is singing random songs. And then I think Laura asks her...
Well, they're singing one specific song, and Laura looks sad. And she says she doesn't like the song because she doesn't like songs about dying.
Yeah.
And the lady's like, death isn't that bad.
I'm not scared of it. And Josh really liked this part, and he rewound it multiple times to listen to it. She says, dying's like going to Boston. But she was talking about a song, and Josh thought she was saying, like, oh, it's fine. Dying's just like going to Boston. And... we thought that was really funny. Especially because the only time that we've been to Boston, we got very lost in their stupid fucking underground tunnels.
Yeah, they're bad.
Ugh, it was awful. So
then we flash to Charles and this other old lady, Amy, and they are decorating Amy's house. And we gather from their conversation that Amy and Mattie live together, but they're friends. And
yeah, for a moment I was like, is this gonna be really ahead of its time?
no, it's not.
It's not.
But they're throwing a party for Mattie because Mattie is going to be turning...
She old as hell.
80, yes. Which is really old for Prairie times. Like,
yeah,
today, I feel like not shocking necessarily, but for Prairie times, that is very old. And, like, they're both doing pretty well. Like, they're both...
getting around
still. Seem in pretty good health and so forth. But she just kind of is like, she's kind of like, yep, she's getting old. She's gonna die soon. She's kind of matter of fact about it. And she's like, and I told her daughter that. So Amy says that she's written to Mattie's daughter and told her, like, hey...
Bridget.
Yeah. No, that's Amy's daughter.
Oh, right.
Mattie's daughter's Eliza. She's like, I wrote Eliza and I told her that, you know, she's getting old and she needs to come visit.
And then Mattie gets home.
And, well...
she says something about herself.
She opens the letter. Amy opens this letter from Eliza that says that she can't make it. And she's, you know, like, oh, what do I do? She's like, I'm gonna have to tell her and it's gonna make her so upset. And yeah, so it does make her upset. Mm-hmm. She's in the rocking chair. Mattie. She comes home. She obviously has read the letter because she's sitting in the rocking chair holding this letter. Mm-hmm. And Amy's kind of trying to comfort her. She's just like, you know, my kids don't visit me either. And she's like, you know, like, they're just busy. They have their own lives. And she's like, I remember, like, being their age and raising kids, like, it's just a lot, and, you know, it's not like, you know, they're not intentionally trying to hurt you, basically. Yeah. She's trying to comfort her, but then we just get this shot of the letter falling to the ground, and then
her hand just kind of naturally falling,
and then this look of shock on Amy's face, and Mattie's dead.
And that's it.
That's it.
Then we get a funeral scene.
Yes, and I forgot that Mattie died, honestly. Like, I didn't really remember this episode super well, so I was like, oh, dang. Yeah. And I also kind of just, like, I know that, like, your mental state definitely ties into your physical state, but for an otherwise healthy woman
to just die on the spot
just from, like, the grief of her child not visiting her is pretty, like, people don't just, like, I mean, you can deteriorate.
I understand.
Well, or even, like, if she was, like, if it was like, okay, it's been weeks and she was depressed enough to where it was like she stopped eating and like parts of her body started shutting down, like, that's somewhat more understandable. Right. But we just literally are like, nope, she gets the letter, she opens it, reads it, and she dies. So then the Ingalls are, you know, sitting around table talking about, after the funeral, they're talking about how sad this is, and they're saying, like, they need to visit Amy because she'll be alone. Yeah. So the girls are sent to visit Amy, and Laura comes running to Pa and says that Miss Amy is sick. So at this point, Charles runs to get Doc Baker.
Mm-hmm. And I thought that this was really funny because for an inexplicable reason, as Pa's running, we cut to Doc Baker in his office.
Yes.
And there's a random child and a random woman in there. And the little boy's saying that he's sick. And Doc Baker is like, oh, it's that 5-day Quincy.
Which, like, what is the... But he basically says, like, oh, it comes on Monday, it goes on Friday, and he's like...
This kid doesn't want to go to school.
Right, and so, but then Paul comes running in and is like, it's Amy, she's sick, and so he runs out, and for a second, I genuinely thought he was gonna, like, run out without saying anything to them. But then he turns around and he's like, give him castor oil.
Castor oil, yeah.
Every, like, 4 times a day or something? Like, every 4 hours?
That's a lot. That's gonna wreak havoc on his digestive system.
It gets the kid to, he's like, I gotta go to school, so I think that was the point. But,
fun fact. I used castor oil because it's supposed to help with endometriosis. So, like, on your stomach, and you put, like, a thing over it to hold it on there so it doesn't, I don't know. It's just to keep it there. And it makes your period very bad.
Oh.
So don't use it.
Okay.
It was awful.
All
like,
right.
if you use it the week right after your period, it's fine. It kind of helps with, like, swelling and just, like, resetting everything. But do not use it the week before or during your period. In case you were really wanting to get castor oil after this episode.
Yes. So they take off to Amy's house. She's in bed, sick, quote-unquote sick.
And she has an amazing quilt.
Yes. But, you know, Doc Baker is like, I can't find anything wrong with you. But she says, like, she just is like, I'm gonna die. And she kind of, you know, is just very downtrodden and gives them this thought that all hope is lost. So she basically is like, if I die, promise me you'll do this. She's like, promise me you'll throw me like a beautiful wake. It'll be like a party. You'll get my kids there.
And she's like, you will get them there. Like, she's very
adamant.
Yeah.
And because they think that, like, she is actively dying, which, like, I mean, it's a possibility because this other woman just dropped dead instantly.
Yeah.
They're like, yes, we promise. And then as soon as they promise, she's fine. She's up out of bed.
Well, I have a quote that she says because they're a little bit like, oh, no, you're right.
Okay. So she's up out of bed.
It's a quote after that.
Then she's like, okay, great. So you'll do this then. And they're like, you tricked us. And, like, they realize that they've been tricked.
This is where I have it. She says, you do for me, corpse, but not for me. Yes. Sometimes she goes in and out of an accent.
Yes, and her son does too later on.
Yeah.
I noticed that. So she says that, but they're mad because they've been tricked, because they have promised this to her. And now they're like, what are you talking about? And I wrote down, because one of my favorite moments is Doc Baker says, I've never felt the need to put an 80-year-old woman over my knee and spank her, but you're coming close. And I was like,
I don't like that.
Like, were there not other ways we could express our frustration or be like, Amy, you crazy. That wasn't wrong to trick us. Instead, he's like, I'm about to spank you.
Yeah, that's really weird.
Doc Baker. So, yeah, I put Doc Baker threatens to spank her.
Yeah, that's weird. I really liked how she was, like, planing the food.
Yes.
And she was really harping on all of the food that she wanted. Because I was like, that would be me.
So she gets them locked into this plan. Oh, wait. We probably should have noted. I guess we just thought it was implied through what happened with Mattie.
Why she's doing
this.
this.
Like, we didn't really explain that very well. Okay. So through what happened with Mattie, it just made her reflect on how long it has been since she's seen her own children and her own grandchildren, and how little her children visit her. And then her youngest son, she says she hasn't even heard from in like 10 plus years, 10 or 15 years.
And she doesn't even know if he's alive.
Because he is a soldier, and she's like thinking that he died, and she's like, just waiting to hear from him. It's like, it's terrible. So that is what really makes Amy realize that, people don't show up until you're gone sometimes. So that is what sparks this idea for, she's like, they'll show up for my wake, so that
if they're not gonna show up for me now, I might as well plan my own death.
Yeah, she's like, that will get them here. So then we see Charles, like, nailing something, and I was wondering, is it the coffin? Is that what he's supposed to be working on?
Oh, maybe.
I don't know. He's hammering something, and the girls are there, and Carolyn is there, and you can infer that he's told them about this plan, and Carolyn is like, it's crazy. And she's like, okay, if you're not going to talk her out of it, I will. So then we have this short scene of the girls in bed.
Oh, yeah, I loved this part.
Yeah, you want to?
Yeah, so Laura tells Mary, I want to live forever. And Mary says, you can't live forever. And Laura's like, why? And Mary says, because God said. And Laura was like, God didn't tell you that. And it made me really happy. I was like, no, he didn't.
So we have this short little scene just where they kind of talk about death and dying. Ooh, lovely little prairie conversation. And then we jump to Pa is standing outside the wagon. Carrie's in the wagon.
And Carrie is very cute.
This scene is really cute. Yeah. So Pa is pacing back and forth, and Carrie is copying him exactly. Yeah. And she's pacing back and forth in the wagon, and it is actually really cute. Carolyn comes out looking peeved, and we realize this is Amy's house. Yeah. And he's like, so did you convince her? And she's like, I'm baking the cake. So basically, she's
been wrangled into this scheme too.
Okay, then we jump to the mercantile. Nels is sweeping, and Doc Baker's sitting on the porch, and they're talking about inflation and paper money, which is really random.
Yeah.
like there's just a quick conversation about the silver dollar and inflation.
The Coke, because he's drinking a Coke. Is there something about that? I just thought that it was interesting, too, that he was drinking a soda.
Yeah, but then, Mary and Laura come up. This was weird, too. What did they say? Just like...
They asked Doc Baker how Amy's doing. Yeah. And he's like, and Mary's like, or Laura, I think, like, winks at him. Yeah. Like, come on, it's get in on the joke. And I think that they're just doing it to...
Like, they're just playing it up, I think. Yeah. So then Doc Baker and Charles sneak her out of her house. They lead her through the back door, put her in a wagon, and take her to the Ingalls.
Which I did note, well, I didn't actually write it down, but I thought that it was very interesting. They sneak her out, but then you can visibly see her in the back of the wagon.
Looking out. So what was all that for? Just for the scene. Yeah. So one request that Amy has made is that she wants a priest from Mankato, or a minister. for her wake. And I don't know why. I guess because it's a big city. It's like,
Yeah.
or is there a
I think
difference
it's just because they don't. Yeah, it's
between Reverend and
yes. I
that's
think
what it is.
that wakes are
only because she makes a mention in the beginning
Catholic?
episode about how it was crazy that she was able to like be friends and live with Mattie for so long because she was a Presbyterian. So
Amy was a Presbyterian, or
I think Mattie was a Presbyterian.
I feel like she's Catholic.
Okay, yes, yeah, and that would make sense because like the Irish accent.
Yeah.
Irish Catholic.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know.
Anyways,
but I did like this part because Laura asks, "How come we don't have wakes at our church?" And Mary says, "Because they're fun, and if they're fun, they're sinful."
yes. That's a good line. So they sneak her out, and then this priest from Mankato is riding up.
With a god-awful haircut.
I made note of that too. It's so bad. But so I also made note of he rides up, he looks like an idiot riding this. I made note of two things. One, it doesn't look like a horse. It looks like a donkey, but it's black. So it looks like a donkey-horse hybrid.
A dorse.
But then there's also no saddle.
Oh,
there's a blanket. So his feet are just dangling. Like they're just like outright dangling. And so he's got this dopey haircut, this donkey, and his feet are just like dangling, and he's just kind of like bobbing up and down while he's
guy. Yeah.
So he just kind of looks like an idiot.
And his name is Father Gorman.
Yeah, but he runs into Mary and Laura on the road, and he says that he's a priest from Mankato, and he's like, "Can you direct me to the Ingalls house?" And I think he arrived early, so Laura's like, "Ooh!" So she's like,
they like run.
She's like, "Excuse me, I have to go," and takes off running. And Mary's like, "That's my sister. She's shy," like covering for her.
Yeah.
And so Laura runs to warn Pa,
and Pa runs very oddly into the house
to hide Amy. Before the priest gets there.
Mm-hmm.
So the priest arrives and basically is like, "I want to know about Amy and stuff so that I can speak to her as speak to her character as this."
So Pa and Ma are nearly breaking here. Like they're both sitting at the table and they're just kind of like, she's a great woman.
Right. And they're struggling to give information.
Yes, because they don't want to lie.
So Amy comes out and is like, "Let me have a moment with the priest." Takes him outside and talks to him. So Charles and Carolyn and the girls just think,
great, she's not going through with it.
Is it the gig or the jig is up?
I think it can be either.
Okay, the jig is up.
Yeah.
Okay. So the jig is up. But then she comes back in and he's like, "Wow,
well,
thank
hold
you."
Hold on. Before that, when she's out talking to him, Pa is like watching out the window and he's like, "Oh, great. Well, I guess we won't need this cake." And he just takes a giant handful of the cake and just starts stuffing his face with it.
I don't know. I didn't make a note of it just because like that seems like something I would do too. Grab a handful and... So the priest comes back in and he's like, "Wow, Amy sounds like a wonderful woman. Like, thank you so much for telling me about her." So Amy has pretended to be someone else, but has talked herself up, which, again, icon.
Love it. I was like, this lady is the kind of dramatic I aspire to be.
Like, just basically was like, just hyping herself up.
Yeah.
To the priest. And I think from here we go straight to the wake, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we have the wake. So there's a lot of food.
I have good quotes about this.
There's a lot of food. There's a cake. And Harriet Olsen kind of notes, he's like, "This is a little weird. Like, it seems like a party." And the priest is like, "Well, you know, from what I've heard, like, this is how she would have wanted it."
And then we see Amy in her room, and she's just taking shots.
Yes, preparing herself. And then she, like, starts to peek out, and Carolyn's there, and she's like, "All right, like, time for the good stuff."
And she's wearing this very dramatic getup.
Yes. Like,
black
and
veil.
all black, and this veil over. But I'm also, like...
They didn't recognize her?
Yeah, like, but she's drawing so much attention to herself because nobody else is wearing all black.
No.
So...
I think Harriet is.
Is she?
I think so.
Okay.
Or maybe she's wearing purple. Harriet wears purple a lot.
I thought that she had, like, some kind of, like, mild colored top
maybe
on. Anyways. Okay. So, she's there, and she's just kind of, like, moving through the crowd. And then...
just watching.
And just waiting for her kids to show up. And they do.
And this entire time, though, Pa and Carolyn are giving each other, like, looks.
And, like, Laura and Mary, too, are in on it. And they're, like, waiting for the and then Laura's
they're
like,
excited.
"They're here."
But Doc Baker the entire time, too, is just looking very uncomfortable. And, like, he can't stand it another minute. Like, he's gonna tell what's happening at any second.
And so her kids come in, her oldest son and then her daughter. Her oldest son is by himself, and then her daughter comes in with her husband
And their children.
And
her name is Bridget.
Yes.
And
she is played by, I don't know the actress's name.
I do. Hold on. Betty Lynn.
Betty Lynn, who plays Thelma Lou and Andy Griffith, which was another staple in our household.
What a fun little crossover.
Yes.
Oh,
and then we forgot to mention,
Mattie, which I didn't write down who she was played by, but she was Miss Inch from Parent Trap. And ironically, I think that this came after Parent Trap.
Really?
I think so.
Interesting.
I'm not positive.
So her kids come in, and so they start having all these conversations, and, you know, they, like, her son literally says, how come you don't realize how much you're gonna miss them until they're gone? And they're recalling things from their childhood, and Amy is listening, but she's talking to herself. She's like whispering things to herself, like in response. And that's pretty weird.
I really liked how the oldest son is named Sean, which again, these names seem very modern to me.
Bridget, Sean,
Amy.
Yeah.
But he says, wipe your feet, Sean. That's what I'll remember about her.
She always said that. Wipe your feet.
It's like, that's what you're going to remember about your mother?
Do you have like a phrase that like they were always saying that you remember?
My parents?
Yeah.
Not like one particular.
I don't think like I have one like that they said all the time, but I guess a distinct thing I remember my mom saying is, it annoyed me to no end, but she would always tell my little brother that he needed to be nicer to me because I was like a delicate flower and he was like a big fat bumblebee just bumbling around. And I was like, no, he's just annoying as fuck and needs to treat me like a normal human being. But
yeah, I don't have any... My nickname growing up was Pickle.
Oh, really? Mine was Peanut.
Peanut and Pickle.
Peanut and Pickle. Why was it Pickle?
I think because I liked pickles. I don't know.
Mine was, so my brother and I were kind of close in age, my younger brother and me. So I was a pretty small baby / toddler, and he was a pretty large
He was gigantic.
baby / toddler. So I was Peanut and he was Meatball. Because
that's funny.
of the size difference.
That's great.
Yeah. So, anyways, she is overhearing their conversations, and then eventually her long-lost son finally walks in his uniform, and the kids themselves are really happy to see him because it's been a long time since they've seen him either.
And then his name is Andy.
Again.
Another one.
But
Another one.
Couldn't help myself.
He specifically says to Bridget, like, he comes in, sees them, looks her up and down, and says, what a fine figure of a woman you are. And that just made me like, ugh, I don't like it.
Downright homely compared to Pa.
It's just kind of weird. Hey. Why would you say that?
But anyways, they're all happy to see one another, and it is at this moment that Amy reveals herself, and everyone is like, shocked.
What?
And the kids are mad. They're like, why would you do this to us? They don't even seem like that
shocked.
Well, or relieved, you know, like, because it's like they, even though like frustration, like a lot of emotions would be understandable in this moment, you would think that it would be like, oh my gosh, like, like if I heard that my mom was dead and I hadn't seen her in a few years, and then I showed up and she was there, I feel like I would be like overwhelmed, like want to see her, you know?
Yeah.
And they're just like, you have a lot of explaining to do.
Well, I feel like she really missed an opportunity to make it more dramatic.
Yeah, it was a little just...
She could have been like in the casket and like pushed up the lid and been like, bitch, here I am.
Yeah. But she does really just give it to them straight. She's like, I have explaining to do. She's like, this is the only way I could get you here. Like, I've tried everything else, and if this is the only way I can get to see my children and my grandchildren, which like I have a right to see, then I'll do it. And especially she like really gets onto her younger son. She's like, I've just been waiting for a letter that you were dead. Like, because I didn't know if you were dead or alive. So they realize the error of their ways and are...
Which I kind of went back and forth on who I sympathized with here.
I did make a note of this.
Because at first, I felt bad for her. Because I was like, well, her kids are just assholes. They're not writing to her. They're not coming to see her. But then,
why does she not go see them?
Yes.
That's
and
what
also, why is she expecting them to come see her? Like, I can understand wanting to see them and, like, hoping that they'll come, but she's, like, making it like it is their duty to come see her.
Right, and she
like,
seems
they don't have
like
lives.
she seems able-bodied.
Yeah.
And if her kids were able to get here, like, for her wake after hearing about it, like, it doesn't seem like it's, like, a kind of thing where it's like, oh, they live across the country.
Right.
So I had the same thought. I was like, why... You know, or just like, too, it's like, I feel like families should respect, it's like, if you choose to live in different places, then you have to be okay with not seeing each other as often.
Yeah.
And if you are like, no, I want to be actively in my children's life and in my grandchildren's life, it's like, go move there.
Yeah.
Go move closer to your, you know, because her daughter's someone with kids. So it's like, if you want to see her, go move closer to your daughter.
Which she did choose to live with Mattie over.
Yeah.
Just saying.
So, anyways, I did note that because the one thing that I think I can see both sides because her youngest son is definitely being an asshole.
Yeah, that one.
Like, just not, like, she doesn't know if he's dead or alive. He's not responding. Like, that's terrible. But I did say, you know, it doesn't really say, like, I feel like they should have added it in if they're wanting us to side with her, why she can't go see them.
Well, this was...
Or that, like, they don't even want to see her. Like,
This was Prairie times, and then when it came out in the 70s, parents are always right.
Yes, it's true. But yeah, I said the same thing. But, you know, they are reunited. They're happy to see one another. And then the moment gets too heavy. So Pa relieves the tension. He's teary-eyed.
And he starts to fiddle.
But he says, this is a party. We need dancing. So he starts playing the fiddle. And everyone starts dancing. And her children start dancing around her in a circle, holding hands.
And then Pa just yells out, Doc Baker, you can dance with my wife.
Or you have my permission.
Yeah, Doc Baker, you have my permission to dance with my wife.
And I was like, okay.
Josh said that we should make it a techno song, like, do a remix, like, you can dance with my wife, dance with my wife, dance with my wife.
That'd be funny.
Doc Baker, you have my permission to dance with my wife, dance with my wife, dance with my wife. Dance, 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 dance with my wife. Doc Baker, you have my permission to dance with my wife. Dance with my wife. Dance with my wife. Dance with my wife.
But yeah, it's just like, I think like the point too is just like everyone is dancing and she can't because he's playing the fiddle, but it's just gross because you have permission to dance with Ryan.
It's just kind of, and I think why it bothered me is because it was like, well, does Carolyn want to dance with him?
Yeah, like it's not like,
Carolyn, if you want to dance with someone, you can.
Yeah, like
he gives the guy the permission to dance with her.
And he just has to.
Okay.
And, I mean, I personally wouldn't want to dance with a guy that's threatening to spank an 80-year-old woman. So.
Which, in the future episodes, we do see Doc Baker get he's a little weird with his dating preferences.
Yes, we will see that.
So.
Oh, I forgot to throw in here. After her kids come in, she watches them for a long time because she's waiting for her last son to come in. And it literally shows this candlestick burning down.
Yeah.
And it shows it going from, like, a full candlestick to, like, a half candlestick. So I looked up, how long does it take? Because I was like, this is a long time. Nice. How long does it take a candlestick to burn? And it basically says an hour per inch. And I would say at least 2.
Yeah.
Maybe 3 inches. Be sad. Focus. We're talking about candlesticks here. I don't know what you were talking about, Riley. I was talking about candlesticks. Okay. So, like, it's been at least 2 hours, maybe 3. So...
That's a long time.
And Carolyn asks the question that everyone is thinking, which is, how long is this going to go on? And Charles is like, I guess as long as she wants it to. And then her youngest son finally arrives.
Shows up.
And then I also wrote, after her explanation, like, everyone accepts this pretty quickly and then starts partying. It's like, cool. So yeah, it's a fun one.
Yeah.
I liked it. I didn't remember this one as well.
I didn't either.
I think just because it is a side character, it's not as canon to, like, the main characters. Maybe that's why. Yeah. But, yeah, I didn't remember this one as well, and so it was kind of fun. All right, so most bizarre moment? Put Mattie dying.
Yeah. I think just Doc Baker and Nels randomly talking about inflation.
Yeah, was pretty random.
That there's, like, I could understand if it was, like, an episode where Pa had gone to Mankato to sell something or buy something and then was, like, talking to them about it and they brought this up, but this is just not related to anything.
Yeah. Okay, trauma. What'd you put?
I don't think I put any.
I put a 2, just because...
If we were imagining ourselves as the children.
Well, as I was just thinking, like I said, I didn't remember it super well, but I do remember watching it as a kid and being slightly disturbed by her, like, having the black veil on. I just think, like, that image, like, you know, kind of frightened me.
And Mattie dying on screen.
Yeah. So, like, as an adult, no, I'm good. But as a kid,
I think like a 1.5.
Yeah, 1, 2. It wasn't bad. Survivability.
If we're the woman pretending to die.
I feel like I'd be great at it.
Yeah.
10.
10.
Yeah. Favorite line?
There are a lot of good ones in this.
There's the one about they don't have wakes because they're fun and fun is a sin.
Yeah, that's
like
the one
that
I was thinking of. Because they're fun, and if they're fun, they're sinful.
I also like during the conversation where Mary and Laura are in bed and they're talking about death. Laura is like saying like, I wonder what death is like, and she's like, when you go to sleep, it's like you're dead. I like that one. That's what I wrote down.
There's also a line that Amy says when they're at Mattie's funeral and she's talking to the girls. They're like, the girls are in the wagon kind of a ways from the actual gathering. And she says, a lot of things in life should be the other way around. Mm. And I was like, I actually liked that one. Yeah, a lot of times the lines that I like are kind of the weird, wonky, ironic ones, but I actually liked that one. And there was a Charles count in this episode. We have one solid Charles, and then we have another one that's kind of bordering on Charles, but she says, Charles, you're not serious. So
very good. Where is the first one, the solid Charles? Where does that take place? Do you remember?
I believe it is when he is telling her about the meeting with Doc Baker and Amy.
Yeah.
Because I think he's saying, like, she's like, well, what are you going to do? And he's like, well, I'm going to do what she wants. And she's like, Charles.
Big opinions. I'm going to take a lesson from Mary on this one. What I had initially thought about saying was that, you know, like, why aren't you going to see your kids? But I feel like we already covered that. Big opinion, treasure the people around you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah. Don't wait until it's too late.
Yeah. I think mine is be as dramatic as possible as you can every single day.
Be as dramatic as possible as you can.
Every single day.
Let's put that on a shirt.
Not just like in general, but every single day. Aspire to be as dramatic as you can.
Yes.
I think that
and always plan the food.
Yes.
Cake.
Eat the cake. Like Charles, just grab it.
Grab the cake by the pound. We'll put that on a shirt too.
By the handful. It could be misconstrued. Not by the pound. By the handful. Could be misconstrued.
Grab the cake by the pound. We'll put that.
And I think that's all for this episode. Yes. If you have any big opinions, please let us know at Little House Big Opinions on Instagram,
TikTok, or send us an email at Gmail.
Yes, littlehousebigopinions@gmail.com.
Join us next time for
one of my favorite episodes.
It's a really good one. This one is one that stuck with me, like I would remember forever, but not because it was traumatizing.
Yes.
It's just one of the classic ones. It's a really, really solid, wholesome Prairie episode.
Yeah.
So I feel like
it has a lot of good moments.
Are we maybe
growing to like it?
I'm just wondering if, like,
we're misremembering.
I think the thing is that the traumatizing episodes are, like, ungodly traumatizing.
Yeah.
Like, they're just so, like, it's just crazy. There are some episodes where you're like, it could not get any worse, and then it gets worse. Like, just bad things constantly happening.
Yeah.
So, I think that it's just because at least every season there's a few episodes that are incredibly traumatizing.
Maybe Michael Landon's goal was be as dramatic as possible as you can.
Every single day.
Every single episode.
I will say, I think that the later seasons have more traumatic episodes.
That's true.
I think there are some in the earlier seasons, but I feel like the count definitely increases as the children get older.
Yeah.
Because it follows them in their adult life.
Right.
And as you're an adult, things get harder. So,
Yeah.
but this episode and the next one, pretty low on the trauma level, so...
Is the one after that the gold one?
I think so, yeah.
Okay, that one's got some trauma.
Yeah. It's coming.
Definitely.
That's what she said. All right.
See you next time.
Bye.
Bye.
Looks like we're at the end of another Little House episode. We admit that we're sad to go, but we hope you laughed and had some fun. We'll keep these podcast episodes coming until the show is done. Don't worry, there's 204, so there will be lots and lots more.